Hello and welcome along to WD18, the Watford fan channel with myself, Jacob Culshaw, Sam Ucko, Charlie Zazzera back on a Sunday night. And there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to break down as we normally do. It's a great hour with the lads always, even after a result like yesterday and even like a performance like yesterday, because it lacked a lot, didn't it? And there's a lot to break down on this one. Thanks so much for your company on this Sunday evening. If you are listening to some audio, drop us a 5-star review on your Monday morning commute. I don't know if you want to start your week talking about this game, Sam, because it's one of those which there's a lot to talk about on a performance that lacked a lot is sort of my takeaway. Now, the lads were there at Vicarage Road yesterday. I've caught up with the full game as well. So I guess I've got a slightly different angle on it. But there was a lot of hype, Sam. There was a lot of build-up. It's the day after. It's the evening after the day before, the game before. How are you feeling? 24 hours on. Just over 24 hours on now.
Well, I was really looking forward to the game, actually. Like, for a while, I haven't actually... I don't know if it's... Because I always look forward to watching Watford, but I haven't actually felt that much anticipation towards a game in a while. Partly because, we knew it was going to be a special occasion with Sir Elton John being at the game, 50-year anniversary since he started his involvement with the football club. I was feeling confident going into the game. We'll touch on our predictions later on the video. But as soon as I felt that optimism and I saw our predictions, it was only going to end one way, wasn't it? And I think other than the first 5 or 10 minutes yesterday where we started the game okay, it was just a completely flat non-event, really, to be honest with you. So in terms of how I'm feeling a day later, I'm feeling pretty flat, to be honest with you. The game wasn't exciting enough to get my emotions up in terms of a feeling of anger or disappointment. I'm just feeling a bit flat, to be honest with you. I said before to you, both of you, before coming on the stream, but I've never in my life bought a coffee at halftime at a Watford game. But I was falling asleep in that first half. So I went. It's actually lovely, by the way. As you walk into the Rookery and that corner bit between the Rookery and the Grey and Taylor, there's a lovely little coffee stand, which also does like home baked goods, bit of carrot cake, bit of lemon cake, coffees. Brilliant. Highly recommend it. So next time Watford is struggling, head down there, support your local businesses, including the Mad Squirrel, which is 7 minutes away from the Road.
Couple of takes from me, Sam, and let me know and let us know in the comment section your thoughts on getting a sort of homemade slice of carrot cake at the football. Now, look, I know the establishment you're talking about. It's called the Coffee Bay. Really nice guy on the Upper Graham Taylor who runs it. Always says hello. Top man. For me, Charlie, is that a sign of maybe the clientele that are going to these sort of establishments that Watford are quite I'd say a higher brow customer, like your Sam's?
I do not know what we are talking about. Are we just avoiding talking about the game at all costs?
I mean, look, but on a wider point, a carrot cake at the football, is that justified?
Anything was better than that game yesterday, so I won't hold Sam against it too much. But what is your hot drink of choice? You've got there one there, Jacob. What are you?
I've got a brew.
Slurping on?
Little brew. For me,
how'd you like your tea?
No, just milk, no sugar. I think at the end of the day, if you're adding sugar to it, it's not a good cup of tea on it in isolation. A wider point, though, is the redemption arc of Bovril. That's something I wanted to just delve into slightly, because there was a phase where it was frowned upon. Now, I have to say, the younger crew like myself, I would say that sort of Sam and Charlie, you're in that bracket, maybe 40 under, really taking to Bovril, whereas the older clientele were all over it. Ian's gone for a caramel cappuccino, which for me is absolutely outrageous. I've never heard caramel in a cappuccino. I've just had a cappuccino.
Jesus. Ian, Jesus.
I know.
Sam, what's your hot drink of choice? And sorry, Jacob, how milky do you like your tea as well?
Do you know what? About it works out about 2 seconds of a pour.
Nice. Okay.
That's it. What about you, Charles?
I like I like mine strong, like a raindrop of milk. Good. I reckon a good 3-minute brew. Yeah. Sam?
Nice. Yeah, I'm a big coffee drinker. I love my coffee. First thing in the morning, every day. But I also, do you know what? I'm actually really growing into my green tea at the moment. Growing into my green tea. I think it's a highly underrated drink. And I was actually out for a friend's birthday last night in a lovely rooftop bar in London. and I ordered a green tea. Didn't want to drink, and it was a bit
Oh,
cold.
bet you're fun at pies.
I know. First one in bed, me always.
He's going to be on the juices at the pub soon. I mean, I've just seen another comment come through. Congratulations to Melanie. My car passed its MOT on Friday, so I used the money I put aside to go to the match very last minute and buy a shirt, which, to be honest, I'm still very happy with. On the shirt, lads, we have to talk about it because the rumours are this will be the only game that Watford play in this strip. It is the fastest selling ever Watford shirt. Watford's 50th anniversary commemoration to Elton John owning the football club. Really lovely touch. Great picture of Elton with his two sons yesterday in the Upper Graham Taylor. I'm a big fan of it. I need to purchase it, by the way. I haven't actually got around to buying it yet. You lads got your hands on it?
No, but I want to. I thought that yesterday's win that should have been would have inspired me to order it, but now I'm in a bit of a strop, so I'll have to see if I might not get the opportunity.
£76, Sam. Not cheap.
No, I know. The thing is, though, I haven't really. I need to inquire. I might give the Hornet shop a call tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's coming off sale because I might just wait for the Christmas special offers, and wait for the sort of 10% off, 15% off. I don't know, making myself sound cheap there, but yeah, I just can't. Don't have 76 quid lying around at the minute, and that travel range is lovely as well, I think. And
I'll tell you what, Sam, is it going to stay on sale for the whole season? This is my only concern.
Yeah, that's what I want to find out. Yeah, I'm going to ask the question tomorrow because if it does, I might just wait a little bit and hopefully the price drops from it. But I'm not too sure because there might be. The thing is that I'm thinking as well, it could come off sale because it's got Elton John's branding on, and there might be a licensing thing there. So I'm not too sure on how it's working, but that's potentially as well why we might only be wearing it for one game, as suggested.
Ian makes a fair point, Sam. That's why you'll always find Sam in the kitchen at parties. Green tea and whether to buy the Elton John limited edition. Charlotte says it's a sellout, I reckon. To be fair, that is one thing for certain. Anyway, look, the performance wasn't as good as the kit that they were wearing, and it is a beauty, to be fair. We'll get straight into it today. Before we do get into that, bit of news in the week, lads. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to WD18, comment down below your thoughts. And also, we're always in partnership with Hertfordshire Minds. No goals yesterday, but if you want to sort of catch up on any of the donations, the link is in the description below to donate to Hertfordshire Minds and the great work they do this season within £1 again for every goal Watford score. Obviously, none yesterday, but you can catch up, as I say, to get involved with that one. Lads, Tom Dele-Bashiru leaving on loan. Charlie, you mentioned before we went live that we could have maybe done with him yesterday.
Well, I think anyone would have been. Let's not beat around the bush. Like Sissoko had an absolute shocker and was non-existent. Everyone's seen the stats online, and we signed him kind of at the start of last season, and we all thought he was going to be kind of that body. Do you know what I mean, coming off the bench? I don't know how many games he's played, but we all know he's a great character and everyone likes him. But I don't think it's just his fault yesterday. And I know I'm going into the game, but trying to play a two-man midfield with Sissoko is pretty suicidal, if you ask me. And I just thought, I thought Tom Dele would have done a better job. It looks like it was time to part ways with Tom. It looked like he wanted a fresh challenge, and we did. I think we spoke about this on last video, so I'm glad he's got his move so he can go out and play football. But Sam knows the team he's gone to, don't you, Sam?
That's throwing me right under the bus there, Charlie.
Sam, I'll give you a hand. I'll give you a hand. Let's get it up on screen. This is the statement from Watford Football Club. It'd been rumoured, hasn't it, that Tom Dele-Bashiru was going to look for a move. He was linked with a move to Italy. He was linked with a move to Spain, I want to say. There was a couple of European clubs. He's ended up in Turkey and a loan move to Gençlerbirliği, I'm going to go with, on a season-long loan. Apologies if there's any Turkish fans watching and I've absolutely butchered that pronunciation, but the 25-year-old has joined a season-long loan with no option to buy, no obligation to buy. It's a straight loan, which you actually see less of these days, Sam, interestingly. Why do you think the club have done that? And why do you think Dele-Bashiru's agreed to that?
Yeah, interesting one, I think. First of all, just to say, like, Tom is a lovely, lovely bloke. And yeah, always made time for people. I know he's not gone yet and he could be back next season, of course, but I think someone who's certainly going to be missed around the training ground and in the dressing room as well, and by fans as well. Yeah, I think it's one that's obviously been rumbling on throughout the summer, and I think in an ideal situation, a sale would have been made permanent. Now, I'm not too sure why a permanent sale wasn't made. Potentially not the right bid came in, or the right offer for Tom Delly. And it probably got to I think the transfer window is now closed globally. I want to say, I think everything's shut now. So probably got to the last few days of the window. There were no concrete offers in there, and the loan move was the only option for Tom Delly. I'm not sure if this club would have been his first choice necessarily if we saw some of the clubs rumoured towards the start of the transfer window. So it might just be a case of getting some minutes. I think it was quite clear he was probably out of Paolo Pezzolano's plans, particularly after a difficult first half against Norwich. And yeah, I think he'll probably move on next summer somewhere permanent, and hopefully it's to, don't want to be disrespectful, but potentially one of the more major leagues in Europe.
Couple of takeaways from this one, Charlie. So playing the Super League, based in Ankara, 20,000 seater stadium. But interestingly as well, from a Watford point of view, is that his contract, if I'm not mistaken, runs out at the end of this season. So according to Transfermarkt, his last year of his contract is this season. So it expires in 26. So that would mean that at the end of this loan, he'll leave on a free, as it stands.
That doesn't sound great, does it? So
unless there's been a contract agreed that hasn't been mentioned, but according to the last time he signed a contract, that is the situation.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, I don't think we should focus too much on it. I always liked Tom as a player. Like Sam said, he's always a really good lad who everyone liked. Scored some crucial, well, maybe not crucial, but scored some like key penalties for us. And like last couple of seasons was one of our key players. So wish him all the best. Hopefully he'll get a bigger move. Yeah, should we move on to the game?
Yeah, let's move on to the game. The only last thing to say is the team he's joined has just been promoted. So
they're newly promoted. Okay.
Yeah, newly promoted team. So interesting to see how Tom Delibashiri gets on, and we wish him all the best with that one. On to the game yesterday, lads. I'm going to start with the lineup because that felt like a really big conversation before a ball was even kicked, especially when you come off an international break. Everyone's sort of predicting that first lineup, and it was quite hard. Obviously, Loser was suspended, a couple of injuries elsewhere. Bowler dropped to the bench with a knock, which is a bit of a blow. You then look at a banker on the bench, and we're trying to work it out. And I looked at some of these, there's some of those apps you get with like Flash Score and etc. And they had us as a back through with Vata as a left wing back. Now it wasn't that, and Elaine played as a left back. So it was Selvik, Petrus making his full debut, Caben, Pollock, Elaine, Kipriani, Sissoko was a 2, Vata on the left, Bar on the right with Dumby and Krumgor leading the line. So that 4-4-2, 4-2-2. 2, whatever you want to call it, similar to the Southampton setup. Charlie, a gamble, is it fair to say, from Pezzolano with this one?
Yeah, I know I know Pep's one of his influences, and I think he overthought it a bit too much and went a bit galaxy brain. And I don't know, on the commentary that I was listening to, they were kind of suggesting that he was trying to kind of match up to what Blackburn were doing and go 4-2-4 essentially with Bar and Vata high and wide, and it was kind of a 2 men versus 2 men midfield. But to be honest, I just thought it was apart from a bright spark, it was a complete mess. There was no cohesion, and just a real shame and like frustration for me, because I think the last couple of games, although we haven't won necessarily, but there has been some kind of cohesion. Maybe not cohesion is the wrong word, but there's been a plan, there's been a shape, it's looked tidy. We've always been in games and been competitive. So I think yesterday, against probably one of the poorest teams in the league, they just overran us, overfought us. So we can't put all of the blame on the head coach, because I did think the application of some of the players didn't look great as well, which is a bit worrying. But I was just so frustrated because although we had injuries, and I know Bola wasn't there, is there an argument to put James Morris for a bit of balance? I actually thought Elaine was one of the better players at left back, considering he's not left-footed. I think he struggled towards the second half, but I just think it was pretty much a mess. And then even the changes, when they came, it got even more messy, and players were absolutely everywhere on the field. And yeah, we did not. We got exactly what we deserved.
Just to go on what something you said there, Charlie, about the application. What do you mean by that?
I just thought again, Sam will know a bit better because he was at the game, but I just thought some of them didn't. We hear about the buzzword intensity that Pezzolano has been saying, and I've been to most of the previous games, and there has been an intensity there. Yesterday, I just don't know what I don't think the players knew what they were doing. They didn't know whether to press, whether to not press. They didn't know kind of their passing lines. Like, I thought, although Petri did all right, having Barr on the right, it was kind of, I felt like, because he was so overlapping, they were in each other's space. It was just really, really confusing to watch. I think the players got confused and, yeah, just massively disappointed because I think we've made a decent start to the season. I thought Southampton, we looked pretty good, one of the better teams against kind of a team who've come down from the Premier League. And yeah, I think Blackburn are in. I think the reason everyone was confident is because how poor of a team Blackburn were, but they looked better than us yesterday with all the kind of reinforcements we've brought in the summer and the money spent and the talent that we've brought in. We reverted, and I think I'm putting that straight in a maybe top 10 worst performances under the pot. So it was that bad. It was a really, really tough watch.
Pezzolano, Sam said the team were 100% ready for yesterday. He then took 100% responsibility for the result against, as Charlie said, a Blackburn team that were low on confidence under former Watford head coach Valérien Ismaël. And he'll be delighted. I think you saw the scenes at full time. I think that meant a lot to him to get that result from a team against a team who obviously sacked him midway through the season or in the second half of the season anyway. Who's to blame for yesterday?
Yeah, credit to Val, firstly. I think Blackburn clearly came with a game plan, executed it pretty perfectly. I mean, I don't think they had to be good yesterday to beat us, to be honest with you. It was quite clear what they were trying to do, just soak up any sort of pressure. I mean, there wasn't any pressure. They didn't have anything to soak up, really. But one chance, one goal, it is what they needed. And they obviously smashed the crossbar as well in the first half. I think what concerns me, and I'll come on to answer your question in a second, Jacob, is I agree with you. That goes straight into top 10 worst performances under the Pozzos as a collective 90 minutes. Just the lack of cohesion. The players look confused. I think that's the best word for it. But that's the second time we've said this season. Maybe this is reactionary of us, but I remember because I said as well that first half against Norwich I know that was the cup, but it was it wasn't as bad as that first half against Norwich, but there were some similarities there again that the players didn't really know what they were doing. There was a bit of confusion there. I don't want to dig out the communication from the bench to on the pitch. The players clearly weren't receiving any sort of messages that they've been working on in the last week. So that's 1.5 games this season where, to be honest with you, we've looked a complete mess and completely clueless. And for me, the blame has to lie at the manager's door. The players, yes, okay, maybe they do have to do better in some places, but we're being told this season that the aim is promotion. We've brought in this promotion specialist. The manager has been backed this time around. And the selections yesterday, I understand Aaron Kunda is coming back from Australia duty. I get that. I didn't know Bola was injured. I don't think we were told that in the build-up. And Gaki obviously came out injured. But the lack of balance all round yesterday, it's a weird one with Max Elaine because I've come out of that game even more confident that he'll be a really, really good footballer. I thought he was good, Charlie, like you said. Yeah. But I felt really bad for him at the same time because he just looks so unnatural in that left back position, and he did his absolute best. But it just I know someone mentioned in the comments before that maybe James Morris isn't necessarily the best option there, but I think it would provide us with more balance. And in that second half as well, I've no idea what was going on that right wing spot going towards the 1881 because there was absolutely nothing there on that right hand side. I think Kayembe was going out there a couple of times. Petri was trying to get forward as often as he could, but Barr was out on the left, and there was just absolutely no balance in that second half. So for me, yeah, the blame lies at the manager's door, and we'll talk about this later on in the video, I assume. But based on what we've seen, the reality on paper is 1 win in 5 games here. And yes, there have been some positive performances. Southampton was positive. Swansea for 60, 70 minutes was good. QPR, that first half was good. But other than that, Pozzo would only be looking at the reality here for going for promotion. And if we don't see a big improvement next week, it could be in trouble, Paolo, I think.
I mean, a lot to get into what you said there, Sam. The first thing I wanted to ask you on that lineup, what would you have done differently?
I think, like I just said, I think James Morris I would have put in there.
Is James Morris going to start for us though? Realistically,
no, but we got no Caleb Wiley and no Mark Boller fit to us at the moment.
Is it moved to a back three then in that situation?
Yeah, that was certainly an option. I think yesterday I was quite surprised. I thought we were talking in the group chat yesterday. I thought it'd be Rocco Vata at left wing back, which would have been interesting. But I think we would have been a lot more solid with three at the back yesterday, at least. Not that we weren't solid defensively, but we didn't have a platform to create. I'm trying. God, they were so dull yesterday. I can't actually remember any of the other sort of change. I mean, Sissoko is holding us back quite clearly. I think in there at the moment. And I tweeted this morning. I really don't want to dig out players, but I think it's something like 0 tackles won in his last 2 games, 1 duel won in his last 2 games as well. We're really missing Imran Loser in the middle of the park as well. So, yeah, I mean, that's why I'm not employed. But clearly, Paolo got it wrong yesterday and needed to find solutions faster.
Charlie, just before you get the average positions up, I just wanted to look into the comment section. Lou Orns with, when you factor in how that game played out versus Blackburn, I'm looking at a performance versus Southampton, Charlton, Swansea differently. 3 teams that look way off it performance-wise. Ian says, totally agree, Sam. Petzolano must see the players every day at training and must know his best 11. You would think. I said it after the Norwich game, Charlie, that I had more questions than answers about Petzolano. We're 6 games in or so, and I would still say I have more questions than answers about this Watford team. In his defence, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, we've played 6 games, a lot of new signings. The average age of the team has gone down significantly. Both Mendy's aren't fit yet. He tried that 4-4-2 against Southampton and it worked. So he probably thought, okay, let's go with it again. If you think about the players that are out at the minute, and this is sort of, he'll be thinking this, Ngakia, Mendy, Abankwah wasn't fully fit, was on the bench. Bola, not fully fit. Wiley out. Loser suspended. Mendy, and then Chakvedadze, who's also hasn't featured yet this season. And Irankunda, he said it was a bit of a gamble to play him from the start. So Petzolano would argue to what Sam said and gone, I'm 6 games in. I've had to deal with all this change in the squads. I'm still trying to find out my best team. There's loads of players out. Does he have a point?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do think that's fair. But the only reason I'm kind of siding more on kind of Sam's fault is, one, it's been kind of an international break. So we've had some of the players have had 2 weeks. And like, do you know what I mean? If we lost to a decent team yesterday, like Blackburn, like they're a bit of a mess as it is in terms of their recruitment. They lost their best defender. I think we were linked with him. Is it Dominic Heim who went to Wrexham in the end? So, and to be at home, to put in that tepid performance was just so disappointing. And it is a mixture of kind of tactics but you can't tell me that because of the injuries and the squad available. I bet you are the players available versus Blackburn. We had better players available, 100%. So it was just an absolute mess, which is such a shame because I felt like, especially after Southampton, the good vibes at the end with Irakunda's free kick. I feel like it was one of those games that just going into it, like everyone was feeling good. Irakunda was away, like scoring free kicks, the Elton John stuff, and then just to be served up that was. So I know what you're saying, but for me, like, just stick with the back three. It's been working well. The reason the 4-2-4 or 4-4-2 worked well against Southampton was the game state and Bar came on kind of thing, and we were kind of trailing. So look, we just had no control of the game. It was like a bit of a crap basketball match. The midfield was getting bypassed. Cipriano, I feel for his body. He must ache because the amount of work that he puts in, and he's another one who can held his head up high. I think Kuramagor probably had his worst game yesterday, if we're honest, which is a shame. Doumbia, again, some nice bits and bobs, but like missed a big chance and his confidence looks shot. And that's kind of, he's come out of the cold to be put straight into. So many questions, like you said, which is it's just a shame because I thought the vibes were good and the vibe meter's gone back down.
And also on that, Sam, the issue here, what we said at the start of the season, is very, very clear what the aim is and where we're measuring this team and this manager against, and that is promotion this season. That's the communication from the club. They've said that in multiple statements about their aim for promotion. So when a performance like that is served up yesterday against, as Philip says, again, Philip, to be honest, I wanted to play devil's advocate, but Blackburn have lost 3 in a row up to yesterday. Right, this is a team low on confidence, and we've gifted them an easy away win. That'll probably be the easiest away win they'll have all season, if we're being totally honest with ourselves here. I mean, we'll get into the goal in a second, but it's slop, it's schoolboy stuff, really.
Yeah.
And actually, probably one of the worst goals we've conceded. It feels like a long time anyway, unless I'm being a little bit reactionary there. But Sam, is the problem that when you get a performance like that, and then when we mark it against what we're being told as the aim and the expectation, there is a real drop-off from the level we need to be at to achieve that expectation and aim than what we're seeing in the first 6 games? Or do we need to be a bit more patient?
But there's no room for patience, though, because this is what we need. We need instant results. I know, of course, the Championship is a very, very long season. I'm a big believer. You can't really... I don't want to say not look at the league, because you're obviously going to do that and your performances will adjust according to that. But I think up until Easter time, it is still anything can happen in this league. And of course, it is very, very early days, but we need instant results. Paulo needs instant results. There's no time for him here, because if we were going to be patient and give manager time, we'd have stuck with Tom Cleverley. Otherwise, sacking him would have been for no reason at all. By the way, shout out to Clevs getting sent off yesterday at Luton in a 3-2 win. So I suppose a little silver lining there for yesterday. But yeah, Paulo can't afford time or patience. Or Jacob, I know you listed there the players that are out or unavailable to him yesterday. And yes, he'll point to that, but that's still another game gone, thrown down the drain. And I know, Charlie, we want to talk about the average positions next, but I think the thing that's really frustrating me is the lack of attacking patterns, despite the attacking talent we have on the pitch. We've scored out of our 5 league games so far this season. We've only scored from open play in 2 of those 5 games, which is really worrying. 2 in the QPR game and 1 in the last game against Southampton as well. I know it's 5 games in, and I know I say that the league table is still in its infancy, but without Aaron Kunda's free kicks, we'd think only be 1 place above the relegation zone. And I think if that's quite alarming to think about that, because we can't rely on Aaron Kunda free kicks to bail us out every single week. So yeah, with the attacking talent that we have, he has to be doing better with it, and that's what I'm finding quite concerning at the moment.
Charlie, should we have a look at the average positions?
Yeah, I'll just go through this quickly, because there was no way I was going to look through any clips of yesterday, because it was just horrific. But these are the average positions from yesterday. And I thought one thing that was interesting from kind of our side, you can see how deep Sissoko and Kyprianou there, and you can see kind of the lack of width that we've got. And one thing that I thought was interesting is how they got a bit more control. Was they had that between kind of Cantwell and their striker, Owazashi, I think his name is. He dropped, you can see here, he dropped deep a bit and he was a bit everywhere, whereas our attacking players were just kind of isolated. Look at Barr up there on his own, 0 width at all, especially when we've got Elaine as a left back and Petri. And just compare this kind of average position to our previous 2 games. Oh. So this against Southampton, you can see much more nice spread there with the back 3. And then you can see Swansea, same again. That's really nice. Do you know what I mean? That kind of shape and that balance that we just didn't have yesterday. Couple of other points I wanted to make out. I thought the amount of times I've said there's not been a right back that I've seen that's been able to deal with Quadro Bar. Ryan Alabasu, I thought, did really well yesterday. He got the top rating yesterday from SofaScore. And then the only other point I wanted to make was Sam's point, which has been a problem for us for a long, long time. And it's a small sample size this year, but Sam raised about our XG, our chance creation. We're the 3rd lowest in the Championship so far this season. But I just think our chance creation in general for years and years now, like it feels like we have to get 2 or 3 decent chances per game for us to be able to score. Do you know what I mean? We're never peppering. We're not creating constant chances. So that's been a big problem for a while, I think.
Yeah, interesting one from Lou Orns. I think we're bottom of the league, as you say, Charlie, for open play XG and expected threat. Small sample size, of course, from the first few games of the Championship season. Sam, that is, I mean, just on a wider point here, I know I'm kind of, again, I was thinking about this morning when you guys said we're going to do one later and do a stream. I was thinking, where were we this time last year under Tom Cleverley? And I think we were on that really good start to the season and we all were getting quite excited. But we all, in the back of our mind, knew it's a long, long season to go. I think regardless, though, of the result, and this is not a Cleverley thing, by the way. It's not like a pro-Cleverley point at all, by the way. This is just more how I felt as a fan at that time, Sam, and how I do now, is you felt that it was the same system or a slight tweak to the team, or there was a tweak here and there in the first period of the games. Take away the results. Almost the results are irrelevant, but the way we were playing, it was quite clear there were patterns, there were combinations, there were things that we were trying to do that had clearly been worked on. Maybe it's me not appreciating what I'm watching at the moment, but I'm yet to see a style of play from these opening few games and a clear direction of how we want to play. I also think alarm bells are slightly ringing for me with the fact that we've played, 4 different formations now? We started with a 4-3-3 at Charlton. We then moved to a back three against, we continued with the back four against Norwich, went to a back three against QPR, did the same at Swansea, and then at Southampton we moved back to the 4 and did a 4-4-2. So it's like 3 different formations so far. I think it's pretty clear he doesn't know his best team. But my point is, have you seen anything to suggest there's a style of play, or is that revisionism from me about the first 6 games last season?
I don't think so, because you're right. We were so excited in those first 6 games last season. And I'm thinking back actually to one of my favourite post-match reactions that we did was against, we played Stoke at home very early on last season, game 2, game 3 or something, and beat them 3-0, 2-0 at home. I can't remember who. I think it was 3-0 because Andrew scored and Kayembe scored 2. But I remember really thinking in that game, and Charlie, you mentioned there in terms of peppering teams with shots, and we didn't do that in that game. But I remember how the centre-halves were playing so high up in that game that we just absolutely squeezed the opposition into their own half, and Stoke couldn't get out of their half. And that happened 2 or 3 times last season in those opening games where we just squeezed teams out, and we were poor in first halves, if you remember, and would often turn it around in the second half. And that was a style of play that obviously changed throughout the season, but it was something now, and we started the season really well. We had that really impressive home form. In this case, though, Jake, like you say, it's changing every other game. It feels like just as when we found our best shape, something either goes wrong or Paolo decides to change it back and revert to a different shape. So it's a bit all over the place. And yes, he's going to point to the lack of availability of some players. Aaron Kunda going out on international duty for Australia, but I look forward to, for example, February when AFCON is. I'm not sure which players we're losing for AFCON, but we're going to have to contend with changes there as every other team will. So it's not an excuse. And again, he doesn't have the luxury of time here. We need to be getting results, and we really need to land on a team and a formation quickly, I think, because it's just going to continue confusing the players as each game goes on.
Because when he was brought in, Charlie, I thought it was with the premise that it was like a 4-3-3. He was pretty welded to his system. It was described as, I've just searched up here, intense, vertical, high-pressing football. And as a promotion specialist, wherever he's been. And the track record doesn't lie. The question is, though, has he looked at the squad he's got at the minute and gone, I can't do that with those players? Or are those players actually suited to that? Or am I going a bit too far this early on?
Yeah, I think that maybe there's some of that, and I do think because yesterday was that bad, I think everyone's kind of a bit. Maybe we should judge at the international break. But it is tough when we've brought in the players that we've brought in, the areas that we've strengthened. Like we can see just from the eye test, players like Cipriano and Caben's been fully fit. I mean, even Caben yesterday, I thought looked the worst he's looked in a long while. I think that's just because of the kind of back four. But I do think he tried to be more vertical. We praised him against Southampton, and I do think he has been a lot more direct, which is quite exciting, but didn't see any of that yesterday. We struggled to get Barr in any positions where he could tackle. I don't think Barr had his best game, but we used to kind of getting it to him out wide earlier. And yeah, I just think yesterday, maybe we are going too far, and yesterday was just one of those days and we need to be a bit calm. And the problem is, when I looked at the fixtures at the start of the season, I don't know if you can get it up, but I'm pretty sure we went, these are quite favourable fixtures. If we have a good start here, and I think we've got a tough run in maybe like November or something. But now with the teams that we faced who haven't been great, do you know what I mean? If we don't get many points and then we go into a sticky spell, do you know what I mean? We're going to be looking over our shoulders. So it's just frustrating. I feel yesterday was such a big game for Paolo because it was at home, the vibes were good, beatable team, and I just think he fluffed his lines massively.
Really interesting. We just talked about that start to last season, Sam and Charlie. We're 5 points worse off than we were at this stage last season, interestingly. And if we think back to the last time we went up in 2014, okay, obviously in COVID, fair, but with fans in the stadium, I think we'll all agree this was the last one we all really connected with. We're 7 points worse off in terms of the start, which is a slight concern. The exact same start as the 23-24 season, though, interestingly. Just on the fixtures, though, as Charlie mentions, if we look at sort of the run that we've had, so we had Charlton away defeat, home against QPR win, 2 draws and a defeat yesterday. And we look at these next blocks, the next block of 4, Sam, before the next international break, which comes around really, really quickly. Millwall away on next Monday night, Hull at home, Portsmouth away, and Oxford at home. Now, I'm going to put it out there now. We need to win our home games because those 2 away games are very, very difficult under the lights at the Den and Fratton Park. I think if you want to be playing those at 3 p.m. because the atmosphere at both of them will be tasty. Yeah,
very, very much so. I watched Portsmouth Southampton today, and I thought Portsmouth were excellent in a 0-0 draw. But Pompey were excellent, and they were the better team. And I think they're quite good at Fratton Park, or at least last season they were. So that's going to be such a tough game, and as will Millwall. I know we beat them last season, obviously, but we've notoriously struggled at the Den over the years. So yeah, those home games are absolutely huge because then you go down and I've just seen those 4 games at the bottom there. Coventry, those 6 games now actually as you go down. Sheffield United now we expect them to be back under Chris Wilder by that point. If he's appointed as manager, you imagine that they'll improve quickly. West Brom at home, who have had a relatively good start to the season under Ryan Mason, and they lost yesterday as well. Cov, who are flying. Middlesbrough under Rob Edwards, who are flying. Ipswich, who just beat Sheffield United 5-0 and would only get better. And Bristol City, who have just got better as well this season. So yeah, those 2 home games are absolutely massive. But I can't see Paolo lasting it, to be honest with you, if I'm being completely honest.
In terms of in general, or the next 4 days?
I think he'll be gone by next Monday night. I mean, but after Millwall next week. I think if we don't win, he's gone.
Millwall away.
Yeah, if we lose at Millwall next week, he's done. That performance yesterday, what we saw, and how it will, at least if the performance is similar to what we saw, I think that there's no chance they'll keep him if we want promotion.
Wow. That's a big statement. That's a big statement, Charlie.
Lose next week. What do you think?
Wouldn't surprise me. What's the fastest manager sacking under Pozzo to start the season?
Sanino 14-15 probably.
Have he had 4 games? The year we got relegated.
I hate talking about managers like this, but it is Gino's kind of made us who we are now and the culture, and that's why kind of the fans are like the fans are when we get bad results and the messages they project. So look, let's just try and stay positive. We've got players coming back, especially midfield, with the likes of Duomo coming back. Mendy, who was on the bench yesterday, I think I heard Adam Drury saying that he's coming back. So obviously Kayembe only came on yesterday. He was on international break, I think, for Congo. So look, we could beat Millwall and everything can change. That's what football about, and it's been a bit of a miserable stream, and I think that's fair because yesterday, like we said, was shocking. But maybe we should be a bit more calm and wait after 10 games to see where we're at. But if nothing surprised me with this club when it comes to managers, so it would not surprise me. No.
Jake, what do you think?
It wouldn't surprise me, Sam, if I'm honest. I'm going next Monday, and as you said, we haven't got a great record at the Den, and I don't think we will win. I think it's very similar. It'll be a very similar game to the Charlton one, if I'm honest. Millwall were actually pretty poor against Charlton yesterday in the early kickoff, but they still found a way to get something. Alex Neil's he's a smart guy. He will know how to play that game. He will make it difficult. And I watched quite a bit of Millwall this season, and that it's very much a ground when the momentum's there. It's difficult to stop, regardless of the opponent, and that will be a real test for our back line. Just on Watford though as a whole, you don't want to make sweeping statements after 5 games, but we're here to have a chat about it, and we can only talk about what we've seen. If I'm honest, lads, watching the first 5, my biggest takeaway is we are best on transition. That is when Watford are playing their best attacking football. Paolo Pezzolano isn't a transition manager. I mean, literally all the best actions this season have come when we're counter-attacking, but also on the transition. Yesterday, even Valérien Ismaël said it in his post-match, Watford weren't as good as they normally are on the transition. So every team knows now that we've got so much pace, talent, trickery, power through likes of Bar, Iran Kunda, etc. I think the QPR game is a prime example of that. Kurumgor's in the right place at the right time. Ball squared across to him. Ball comes in out wide. The point is that on the transition, Watford are great. We have a manager who doesn't play that style of play. So he's still trying to find the way to get the best out of those players. And I think what the biggest, most alarming thing is when loser drops out the team, we cannot play a possession sort of slow build-up game. It's not going to happen. With a midfield 2 of Kyprian and Sissoko, that's not their game. Kurumgor was isolated. He had barely any service, barely any crosses into the box, which is a big concern for me as well, because we all know that's his game. I think that's my concern. I don't think our biggest strength is counter-attacking football, and we might not want to admit it, and it might not be the sexy way to look at football anymore, but I think we are really effective when it clicks, and I just don't think we're set up to do that to the best of our ability. Fair, or am I waffling?
You're not waffling, but a player who I forgot to mention, and is a big point, is Imran Luzer's not been available. Our player of the year, probably one of the best players in the Championship. So he's back for Millwall, which is a bit of a tough ground for him, obviously, where he picked up that injury. But we all know how important Imran Luzer is, and maybe that QPR last action where he got sent off has proven, do you know what I mean? And he is that good that he can transform like our identity kind of thing. And that's what he did last season when Tom cleverly brought him back into the team. So maybe we can start seeing better things when he comes back into the team. And he's going to be a huge player for us. But it's just, should we get back to coffee chat?
A couple of things to fire through. Blackburn's goal, Sam. I've watched it back. It's an interesting one. Sissoko gets dragged out wide. Kypriano's kind of following his man. Kabeng is just flat-footed. It's a mess. Selvik tries to come out, but by that point, it's too late. It's a great finish, to be fair. But, I mean, so easy. So easy. That.
So easy. Yeah. Dragged all over, out of position. I think the ball was played through, and I think Kevin Caben, I think, who tried to stretch out for it, and it sort of rolled over his foot. As good as he's been in his time so far with us, I think he'll be disappointed with that as well. But yeah, too much ball watching going on, too much space, so easy. It literally looked like, because the goal was in the 47th, 48th minute, I want to say. And we just looked like we came out in the second half asleep, which obviously is a big contrast to the first half. I actually think we started, our first best period in the game was in the first 5 or 10 minutes where we actually started okay. But Yeah, I know. I mentioned earlier in the stream that we weren't too defensively bothered yesterday, but there were some moments as well, particularly defending set pieces this season. We have looked so bad, so poor. We conceded against Charlton, Southampton, and yesterday as well. We just looked an absolute mess when defending set pieces. And that's something as well that needs to be addressed urgently because a team like Millwall will capitalise on that.
On that, by the way, it'll be interesting to see the system Pet Solano goes with because Millwall go with that 4-4-2 with Coburn dropping in as a 10. So are we going to go man for man like we did yesterday with the 4 at the back? I think personally going to the 3 would be a wise move for this one, personally. But we shall see. Atmosphere in the ground's an interesting one as well, guys, because the first 10 minutes it was lively. Everyone, there was sort of anticipation. Elton's in attendance, the new kit's on, real big build-up. It feels like when there is a big build-up, Watford don't deliver, which is frustrating. But Sam, you said that you haven't felt so sort of disengaged in that 90 for a while. Is that fair?
Yeah, been a long time since I've felt so disengaged in a game like that. I'm sort of thinking back to the last time I felt like that was, well, ironically, maybe under Valerian Ismail for a couple of games, but also I'm trying to think actually the back end of that season where we had Rob Edwards, Bilic, and Chris Wilder, and those last 10 games were just absolute nothing games. And it felt like yesterday, actually, at times. It felt like one of those games that you play in those last 5 games of the season with nothing to play for. And it just wasn't a pleasant watch at all. And the atmosphere, I think reflected that. The first 10 minutes, it was great. The atmosphere, the flags in the rookery before the game. Credit to Phil and the guys who put out those flags before the game, because I think it does help raise the atmosphere. Really good noise for that first 5 or 10 minutes. And then I think it just became clear quite quickly that the players weren't feeding off that. And I'm a big believer, by the way, that it's not on the fans to create good atmosphere. It's on the players to create a good atmosphere, because ultimately the fans will feed off what they see on the pitch. So, yeah, disappointing. And I think it just stems from what we saw on the pitch yesterday.
Charlie, talk to me positive silver linings.
Sam's already stolen my one. I was going to refer to the result at Kenilworth Road yesterday. Go on the Green Army, but another one from today, and Sam's got more intel on it. But Watford women,
yes.
Sam, what happened there?
Oh my! The most ridiculous game ever. I couldn't find a stream or a way to watch it, unfortunately. But oh my word, I was following along, and Watford went 1-0 up. Cheltenham pulled them back to 1-0, then 2-1 Watford, 2-2, 3-2 Watford, 3-3, and then in the last 10 minutes, Watford managed to nick it 4-3. Beautiful chaos, and pretty much the exact opposite of what we saw yesterday with a pretty dire game of football. So yeah, brilliant. I think Watford, the women's team, have had a relatively good start to the season as well. The feeling is really good. So credit to Renee and everyone on that side of the club who seem to be doing really well at the moment. Yeah,
absolutely huge win for the Watford women away at Cheltenham. Maya Kendall with the winner, 4-3. I mean, that is incredible. So great day for the Golden Girls. Great result as well. Lads, I feel like we've kind of summed up pretty well. Is there anything else we wanted to mention? I'm open. I'm open to having a conversation about it. What else is there really to say about that one? So
I've got a question for both of you. I haven't actually seen the numbers of Quadro Bar's output from when he starts versus when he's on the bench. But it just seems to be a different player, doesn't he? He just doesn't seem to have the same impact on games when he starts, which is crazy to say, as he's one of our best players. And obviously, if Quadro Bar's going to be on the bench every week, there's no doubt that he'll try and leave the club next summer, and understandably so. But just wondering where you both sit on it at the moment, whether Quadro Bar should be starting games. Because it did feel like a game yesterday where almost if we'd had half an hour to go at 1-0 down and we needed an injection of pace, he would have been perfect for that.
Yeah, I think it's on the coaching team, and I think it's been a bit of an anomaly. I don't think he played too much on the clubs from the start, did he? I think he did a couple of times and then he got injured. But yeah, it's just so weird that he just looks so much better off the bench. There's probably an element in terms of game state, people being tired, but the player's got ability, the player's got talent, it's there. I think yesterday I thought it was a tactical issue and how we were using him. You can see on his heat map that I showed there how central he was. He was like the furthest forward. I want him on that touchline, make the pitch as big as possible, get it to him and get him running at your centre-backs. And we didn't do that well enough yesterday. So, yeah, I think it's a weird coincidence, if I'm honest. But I think it's on the coaching team to getting the best out of that talent personally.
I do think he's better off the bench. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's some players who, I think the beauty of coming off the bench, if your bar is, the reason you've come on is to change the game. And the reason you've come on is to be positive, direct, and you're on for your attacking output rather than what you're going to give the other way. So very much his first thought when he gets the ball is, I'm going to drive her at fullback, create something, make something happen. When he plays from the start, he has to be more mindful, obviously, of what he's doing defensively. I mean, we saw it away at Charlton. The areas he was picking up at the ball was so deep, he was having to basically travel 30 yards just to get to the 18-yard box. So I actually think his game, unless you are going to say to him, you're a right winger and you stay as high as possible regardless, and you just leave Petris, whoever's at right back, to sort themselves out, then actually you're better off bringing him off the bench and just saying to him, go.
But if you're playing three at the back with a right wing back, he shouldn't. His defensive duties shouldn't have to be that much. Obviously, that opens the question of: are we playing three up front? Is it two? Like Irakunda's been very central, hasn't he? And when Barr's been playing central, he hasn't looked as good. I do think just get him high and wide, give him the ball, and he's like the Mo Salah. He's like the one player who you're allowed to cheat. Just stay out there. We'll get the ball to you and cause havoc. Interesting point that you made, Jacob. It's like a Ole Gunnar Solskjaer kind of player, but I just think you can't have a player his age that good and have him as he's just always going to be on the bench. Come on, and what's that going to do for him mentally as well?
I mean, on having a player that good off the bench, I remember there was a phase where Deulofeu, Garcia benched him for a while, and every time he came on, he was impacting the game. Now, don't get me wrong, Deulofeu, when he was fit, normally started. But I just think he is a player. The best, look, at the end of the day, if you were going to do a highlight reel of Quadraro Bar in a Watford shirt, the top 5 moments so far have all come off the bench.
Yeah, if anyone can work out the numbers of his output on the bench versus starting, I'd be really interested. Because it is probably heavily in favour of coming off the bench, isn't it?
I wanted to open the discussion up just on that. A couple of really good tweets yesterday from a friend of the channel, Jordan Weimer, Watford Buzz podcast. Make sure to check those guys out. And he just sort of, I thought, really articulated well where Petzolano's at, where this Watford team's at. I bookmarked it just so I made sure to read it. He goes, like it or not, the head coach will be in trouble here. The owner has high expectations, which is very clear. Regardless of whether you think they're realistic or not, Petzolano had the opportunity today to show that he can coach his way out of a mistake. He didn't. What was just as, if not even more concerning, was the response from the players. We had no drive, as you said, Sam, no cohesion. And as you said, Charlie, that group is much better than what we put out today. Whilst I don't necessarily agree with Gino, that wasn't close to good enough. And I think that's my biggest takeaway so far from these first 5-6 games. I get it takes time, but he has had a full pre-season. He had 2 weeks over the international break. And I think the ceiling for this Watford team is a lot higher in terms of a performance than what we're seeing at the minute, Sam. That's my frustration. And maybe that's a little bit of impatience from me. Maybe that's a little bit of frustration because I feel like we've seen some real bright sparks from this team. But Jordan went on to say that Petzolano's biggest strength is his tactical flexibility. Absolutely. We've been crying out for a head coach that can adapt to the squad at his disposal and the opponent he's up against. But you have to have a base. You have to have a system that you can deploy when things aren't clicking. The first half against Swansea, that's our current ceiling. The players are comfortable on and off the ball. We had structure. Yesterday, you're at home. You want to take the initiative. Great. Start with the 4-4-2. But I don't know how we end that game the way we do. I just can't get the logic. The strength became a weakness today, and it's such a shame. So frustrating, Sam.
Yeah, I think Jordan articulated it really well, as he always does. So yeah, it's just so frustrating. Because again, like I said, it's been great to see the tactical flexibility, but I think as well at the end of the day, you do need some sort of identity, rather than being, if I'm trying to think of an analogy or a metaphor here, if you're too flexible, you'll snap like a ruler, so to speak. The wise words of me today, and
Gary Neville.
I think we are almost seeing Watford being too flexible, and it's almost getting to breaking point, I suppose.
Did you see Michael Owen's analogy?
Well, they
about being a
knocking down the
creator and
house.
being a defender.
I tell you what, lads, have you guys seen the guy on TikTok, the HMRC of Football podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, he's superb. I recommend anyone, if you've got a little bit of time on your Sunday night, search up the HMRC of Football podcast. It's amazing, where basically ex-footballers go on and he fact checks it, and it's very, very good stuff. On Millwall, to bring it back around, Charlie, to sort of wrap up today, how do we approach that one? How do Watford go to the Den on a Monday night, 8 o'clock kickoff? It's going to be tasty. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be difficult. Millwall have a very good record at home recently. I know they lost last time out against Wrexham, but this is going to be a challenge for Watford. I actually put it in a sort of category of a Charlton. They're a better team than Charlton in terms of quality, no doubt about that. But in terms of this is going to be a fight more than anything. So how do we approach it, and do you think we will get a result?
Hey, let's not remember we got a win there last season with Rajovic up front. So
Great.
and seen us win 6-1, I think there. So look, I think
Rajovic vibes.
Huh?
Sesko gives me Rajovic vibes.
I had to get rid of him in my draft. Absolutely stinky first pick. Anyway,
I
was 15th, by the way. So let's not get it twisted. Guess revert to three at the back. I'd probably keep Matty in there for his aerial ability. Look, Millwall are the home team, so they're going to be the one who are kind of be encouraged to do the attacking. Let's, like you said, let's dig in. Let's show some grits. Let's show some real character. Defend our box well. So that's what they're going to be doing, and that's when we should have quality on the break, like we've been talking about. Is this a chance that we start maybe Bar and Irakunda together, so we have got that outlet? I still think, like, I'm not writing off Kieran Gore at all. I still think there's a really good striker in there. I just think defensively we need that back three. We need the two in front of him, Cipriano, Loser. Hopefully we can get Loser in space, and he's going to be a good outlet who's going to be able to create for us and get our forward players in the game, and we can use those quick attacks. But we're going to need a really strong, impressive defensive performance. Someone said in the comments, what, we got 8 days this Monday night. Is it on TV? Oh God, I'm not liking the sound of this, but yeah, let's drill. Let's do the old Roy Hodgson. Let's drill our defensive, make sure our structure's in there, and let's hopefully get the ball to our talented players, and let's nick a win, and then the vibes will be back up.
Very true. We should have a few players fully fit. I'd imagine a Bank will come back in. I'd imagine Bowler will come back in. Sam. But Stuart makes the point, it has to be a three in midfield, be it 5-3-2 or 4-3-3. I think we need to go to the three at the back for this one.
Yeah, I agree with you that we need to go back to the three. But I did have this thought earlier. I do think we'll go back to the 4-3-3 that we saw on the first day against Charlton. I think he'll go with Pollock, Caben. Actually, won't shock me if he goes with the Bankwa at right back. If Ngakia isn't back. And then you expect Boller to come back in. But I think he'll actually go back to 4-3-3. But I mean, I suppose this is part of the problem. Like Jordan's tweet said earlier, it's been great to see a manager have so much flexibility, but no one's got any idea what the shape could be next week. It could be one of 4 shapes, or 3 or 4 shapes, Jacob, that you went through earlier on the stream. So yeah, that's not confusing, and I can't imagine it's settling for the players either.
No, and I think what I was reading and what I'm seeing are very different at the minute. Early days. Charlotte makes an interesting point. Not a fan of Monday night games, waiting all weekend for the game. Ian says we just need 11 players to put a complete performance in for 90 minutes. Ryan, hello Jacob. I hope you're well. Hope you're well, Ryan. Hope all's good. Lads, should we do predictions? I'll get the prediction table up. I'm having an absolute stinker.
This is why I didn't want to do the predictions league for games like Blackburn.
Look at that red run from me. I'm having an absolute stinker.
God, all 3 of us. Oh my God. That's the last time I ever predict Watford to win, because it just goes badly every single time I do that.
I mean, it would be classic Watford to go to Millwall and get something, or at least win. I'm going to kick it off, lads. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Millwall win.
Sam?
I'm going to go 2-1 to Millwall. I can guess what's coming here, Charlie.
I'm going Millwall 3. Watford 3. Come on.
Goodness gracious me. Dara, in the comment section, just to wrap up, did you lads see those Argentinian lads in the Sarah and John stands? Absolutely wonderful support from them. Made the game a lot more fun. That is lovely.
Getting into the Blackburn players. Love it.
Let us know your predictions in the comment section below for Millwall away. 3-1. We've had 2 on Millwall, says Ryan. 3-0 away win for the Golden Boys. Come on, you want, says Stuart. Love it. We'll end it on that positivity. Lads, any final thoughts, feelings? We've hit an hour mark. Thanks so much for joining us. Sam, take us home.
I'm going to have some nice green tea. Let us know in the comments your favourite hot drink.
Do we feel like the therapy session? Do we feel better after that?
I feel... look, it's always good seeing you, lads. We've had the highs, we've had the lows. I mean, the real takeaway is Sam's obsession with green tea. I didn't have him down for that, to be honest.
I'm just more concerned about ordering green tea on a night out. That is crazy behaviour.
I mean, that has to be looked at, Sam.
Maybe. Listen,
that's what he wants. He's his own man. Unapologetic.
Unapologetically me. And for the best green tea in Watford, you could also head down to the Mad Squirrel, who also do hot beverages as well as cold ones. I don't actually know if they do, but even still, go and check them out.
Check them out. Check out the Mad Squirrel. Make sure to check out Hertfordshire Mind as well. And our initiative this season. I know, as I said at the top of the show, we didn't score yesterday, but there will be more goals this season. I'm absolutely sure of it. Well, I hope so anyway, because otherwise it will be a long season. Charlie, Sam, thanks so much. Thanks so much to everybody who watched tonight. I hope you did enjoy it. Make sure to drop us a like if you did enjoy it. That always means a lot. Comment down below your thoughts on anything we discussed here today. Agree, disagree. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on your post notifications and follow us on socials at WD18 Fans. Hopefully, we'll be back. Maybe if there's anything that we break or the club breaks in the next week or so. If not, we will see you after Millwall away at the Den. Lads, you going? I'm going to be there. Sam?
I will not be there, unfortunately.
Charlie? Okay, so I might have to do a match reaction coming out the Den. Nice one. We'll see. Take care, lads, and thanks so much to everyone who watched. See you soon. And as Charlotte says, hopefully it was a cathartic session. Take care and up the audits. You want?